It started with a promise. The future of money is here, they said. A new cryptocurrency, unlike any before, claimed to revolutionize how we think about wealth. People invested in droves, captivated by the idea of becoming rich without lifting a finger. But as the value skyrocketed, something didn't feel right. Innocent people, trusting the system, lost everything. What if the currency we thought was the key to our financial freedom was actually the greatest scam in history? And what if the truth was hiding in plain sight? Could it happen to you? Subscribe now to follow this shocking story. Uncover the secrets behind the largest crypto scam of our time. Don't miss what's coming next.
The crypto empire grew faster than anyone could have predicted. "It's too good to be true," they whispered, but no one listened. Investors poured in, their hopes of financial freedom becoming a frenzy. Millions were made in mere days. The cryptocurrency, once a small idea, now dominated the digital world. But as the money flowed, the whispers turned into doubts. Where did all this wealth come from? Was it built on the backs of real value? Or was it a house of cards waiting to collapse? The protagonist, an investigative journalist, began to dig. Every answer led to more questions. But one thing was clear: something wasn't adding up. The deeper they went, the more dangerous the truth became. The crypto empire continued to skyrocket, and the public's faith in LunaCoin seemed unshakable. "This is the future," they said, as more people, some with no understanding of cryptocurrency, invested their savings in the promise of quick returns. The value of LunaCoin soared to unimaginable heights, drawing the attention of both major investors and government officials. But Avery's investigation revealed something unsettling. Hidden behind the public celebrations and lucrative deals was a tangled web of manipulated data, false promises, and deceit. Every answer led to more questions. The deeper Avery dug, the more she realized that LunaCoin wasn't just a financial empire. It was a carefully constructed illusion. Would the truth be uncovered before more lives were ruined? Or was it already too late? Avery's worst fears began to materialize. As she sifted through more documents and insider information, the cracks in LunaCoin's facade grew wider. Unexplained transactions, conflicting statements, and investors who were mysteriously silenced. She found a pattern of financial manipulation that made her skin crawl. The numbers didn't add up, and the deeper she dug, the more danger she found herself in. Her sources within the company had grown increasingly distant, their warnings more cryptic. "Stay away," one said, a former employee now hidden in the shadows. The truth was slipping through her fingers, but she was getting closer. Too close. But who could she trust? And at what cost? Every new revelation made the world she knew feel like it was unraveling, and the consequences were becoming impossible to ignore. Avery had finally tracked down the key whistleblower who could expose LunaCoin's deepest secrets. But when they met, the person she trusted most turned on her. "Stay away," they whispered, panic in their eyes. "You don't know what you're up against." In that moment, Avery realized just how far the deception had spread. The betrayal cut deep. This was no longer just a story. She was part of something much larger, and the closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous it became. Her sources were disappearing, silenced by fear or worse. Could she trust anyone? Now, with her credibility and safety hanging by a thread, Avery had no choice but to go further into the heart of the storm. The deeper she went, the more she understood. The real danger wasn't just the scam. It was who was behind it. Avery could feel the walls closing in. The deeper she dug, the more the danger escalated. Anonymous threats, surveillance, and shadowy figures lurking just out of sight. But she refused to back down. As the pieces of the puzzle slowly clicked together, the magnitude of LunaCoin's scam became clear. Millions stolen, thousands of lives ruined, and the entire system built on lies. The deeper Avery went, the more it became evident that the stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about money. It was about power. She knew she was walking on a razor's edge. Would the truth ever come to light? Or would those behind the scam silence her first? The clock was ticking, and Avery was running out of time.
The storm that had been quietly brewing finally exploded. LunaCoin's value plummeted, sending shockwaves through the markets. Headlines screamed, "Crypto crash, millions lost in LunaCoin collapse." But Avery knew the true disaster was far worse than anyone could imagine. As news outlets flooded the airwaves with panic, Avery sat at her desk, the weight of everything she had uncovered settling in. The truth was out, but it was much darker than she had thought. Investors, government officials, even major banks were all involved in the massive scam, and the ripple effect would be felt for years to come. In the chaos, Avery became a target. The threats she had been ignoring were now real. Could she survive long enough to see justice done?
In the wake of LunaCoin's collapse, the world was in chaos. Investors, government officials, and even the media turned on each other, all scrambling to salvage what they could. Miles Crawford, however, had one final card to play: his escape plan. As authorities closed in and the media buzzed with allegations, Miles disappeared without a trace. His luxury villa, once the symbol of his success, was now an empty shell. Avery's phone rang, but it wasn't a call for help. It was a warning. He's gone. He's vanished. But Avery wasn't backing down. The truth was out, but she knew this was only the beginning. Miles was gone, but the ripple effect of LunaCoin's fraud would haunt everyone involved. Avery had only one option left: keep fighting. The storm wasn't over. Not yet.
The truth was finally out. LunaCoin's entire empire had been a web of lies. Avery had spent months digging through documents, talking to whistleblowers, and connecting the dots. And now, everything was laid bare. The details were shocking. Shell companies, fake partnerships, manipulated financial data. The scam ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. Avery sat back, staring at her computer screen, the final piece of the puzzle in place. She could almost feel the weight of the moment. The world was about to find out, and she was the one who was going to deliver the truth. But as she prepared to make the exposé public, a shadow loomed over her, reminding her that in this world, the truth always has its cost. The calm before the storm was over. This wasn't just a story anymore. It was a war. The storm had passed, but the damage was irreversible. The world had learned the truth, and the fallout was more devastating than anyone had anticipated. LunaCoin's collapse sent shockwaves through global markets, shaking the faith of investors and governments alike. Thousands of lives had been ruined, and billions of dollars disappeared without a trace. Avery sat in her apartment, staring at the TV as news outlets covered the aftermath. Miles Crawford was still missing, his escape carefully planned, leaving a legacy of lies and destruction. Despite the public victory, Avery knew the war wasn't over. The people behind LunaCoin's fraud still had the power to strike back, and the ripple effects of the scam would echo for years. But as the public turned its gaze, Avery couldn't help but feel a sense of hollow victory. She had exposed the truth, but the cost had been high. Too high. The fight for justice was far from over. The investigation had led Avery to this moment. After months of chasing leads, uncovering corruption, and surviving threats, she was standing face to face with the one person who could give her the final piece of the puzzle: Miles Crawford. He was cornered now, desperate, and everything he had built was crumbling around him. "You have no idea what you've done," he spat, his voice shaking with anger and fear. But Avery remained steady, knowing that this was her moment of reckoning. The truth was undeniable.
Miles Crawford, the once celebrated tech visionary, was nothing more than a fraud. But the confrontation wasn't just about exposing him. It was about ending the cycle of deceit that had ensnared so many. This wasn't just about justice anymore. It was about closure.
The final piece had fallen into place.
With the evidence Avery had painstakingly gathered, and the truth now undeniable, Miles Crawford was arrested. The charges were extensive: fraud, money laundering, and a series of crimes that would leave a stain on the crypto world for years to come. But justice was more than just a courtroom victory. For the victims who had lost everything, their savings, their futures, this was the beginning of a long road to recovery. As Miles was escorted into the police car, Avery stood on the steps of the courthouse, a sense of quiet relief settling over her. The fight had been long, and the scars were deep, but she knew she had done what was right. The truth had won. But for Avery, the journey was far from over.